All right. Welcome, everybody, to Speaking of Zane, February the 25th, 2024 edition, 270th edition of Speaking of Zane. Good to have you all here for sure. Let's see. What do we got going on here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum? Let me pull the banner down there. Let's see who we have. Daryl's in there. I'm going to try not to cough as much tonight as I did last week. I'm on the tail end of this thing. I do have a cough drop to hopefully help me not cough as much as I did last week, but I am getting better. Lori, on the other hand, has not gotten better. She might have pneumonia, but I think she's going to the doc. But Daryl's in there. Steve-O's in there. My dad's in there. Mac Marine. Let's see. Carl's in there. Jimbo's in there. And my buddy Amy Walton's in there. Good to have you all in here for sure. Well, let's see. What do we got here? Well, first of all, happy. Got a couple of birthdays. Let me start with my buddy Daryl. Daryl had a birthday this week. Daryl, I forget which day it was. I think it's the 22nd. Same as my sister. But I think Daryl is 78, if I caught that right, Daryl. So happy birthday to you. And also on February 22nd was the 60th birthday of my little sister, Sharon. She is 11 years, well, 11 years, 11 months younger than me. How about that? So her birthday is in February, mine's in March, but she's 11 months behind me. So she's celebrating her 60th orbit around the sun. How about that? And then my baby brother, who is 11 years younger than me, will turn 50 this coming week on the 28th. He shared a birthday with my grandma McDonald, Gladys McDonald, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, but I think Grandma's birthday was on the 28th as well. But Brad will be 50. Incredible. I remember when I was in the Air Force, we're 11 years apart. So I was 18. He was like 7, something like that. But anyway, good stuff. Happy birthday all around to everybody. Okay, well, let's see. I've been reporting on this walking challenge that I'm in at work. Now, remember, 90 pounds ago, it was a challenge at work that got me started eating no sugar. And 90 pounds later, 2 years later. So I jumped onto another little challenge that we're having at work. And we've been doing it since the 1st of March. And it's a step challenge. So you guys know people track their steps and everything. and people use steps as the measure instead of miles or whatever. But so I jumped in on this step challenge because I walk every day. I walk 2 to 3 to 4 miles a day. Well, that's not enough in this challenge. You got to walk a lot more than that to be in the running. But there's 402 people at my work that are in this challenge together, all across the world. And hey, Matt, Aaron, and so I decided to jump in, and I thought, oh man, some of these guys just took off. And when I reported last week, of of 402 of us, I was at 77th place on the leaderboard, 77th place. Well, last week, I reported to you all that I got a walking pad, one of those under your desk walking pads, so I can walk all day long while I'm working. Well, that has helped because between last week and this week, I have risen on the leaderboard from 77 to 21. That's 56 places. I've skyrocketed up the leaderboard. Now, I'm in some pretty tough places here. I'd have to do a whole lot to catch up going forward, but I'm committed to try to crack the top 20. I'm at 21 right now. We've got 4 days to go. 4 days to go. So my goal, there was a couple of guys I was trying to catch, but I don't think I'm going to catch them with 4 days left. But I can come in the top 20. That's my goal right now, is to come in the top 20. Anyway, enough about that. All right, watch the sixth episode of Masters of the Air last night. I've talked about that because I'm a World War II buff, B-17 buff, and this movie's all about the B-17 and their crews. And this was the sixth episode of the miniseries, and wow, it was incredible, heartbreaking in places, but it was good. I think I don't know how many more episodes there are. I told you I didn't know last week, and I didn't go try to find out. But anyway, I'm enjoying it. All right. Well, Braves had their first game yesterday, first spring training game, and they beat the Tampa Bay Rays. I think it was 6-5, something like that. And you don't take too much stock in these spring training games, but anyway, the Braves played the Red Sox today. And the Braves led most of the game, and then the Red Sox came back in the ninth and won. I think it was 5-4 or 6-5, something like that. But they don't. I think today's game they were streaming the audio somewhere, and I didn't know that until too late. But they won't start broadcasting any of those games till sometime in March, I believe. But anyway. All right. Well, let's see. And because of that, this hat is the hat of the week, spring training. This was 2019. This was the year before COVID. They were still in Orlando, Wide World of Sports near Disney, when I got this hat, 2019, pre-COVID. And so this is the hat of the week because we're in spring training. Colin Crim's in there from Albuquerque. Okay, Colin, that's good. That means 3 more episodes. I'll tell you, it's been fascinating so far. I've enjoyed it. Everybody has their opinion on the production and the accuracy and all that stuff, but I think on the whole, I'm pleased with it. All right, let's see. Still no date for Tyler's service, and that's really weighing heavy on us. I know it is on Lori especially, but we feel so strongly that a friend of his, David, whose story that you're going to hear at some point, be in attendance. It's so important that David is there, and I think Lori and I are both willing to adjust the date as we need to accommodate David being able to attend. And he travels a lot with his work, so as much as it would be easy for us to just say we're having it this weekend, I'm resisting that, even though I know that um, there's a sense of closure that we don't have yet, as you might imagine. Um, but the message that his friend David has to tell, I think anybody that's there to see Tyler off needs to hear. So anyway, stick with us on that. I'll certainly share um, when we arrive at something. David works, he travels, I work, I travel. So Lori has been very patient about this, and I know she wants to, you know, she wants to get, that is sort of the next phase of the process. But I think she agrees about David's attendance. But I'm going to have David on here as a guest. David was actually incarcerated with Tyler, um, and the story is incredible from that point in David's life to what he's doing today. And to hear that story, I think I mentioned last week, his his outcome was the opposite of Tyler's outcome, and he has a hypothesis about that I want people to hear. Hey, Katie Aaron. Okay, well, let's see. I have a couple of this week in military history items. One goes back to 1991 when most of us were still serving. And on February 24th, I think it was 24th, was 24th or 25th, 1991, the U.S., we went into Kuwait. We went into Kuwait after this period of time staging in Saudi Arabia for Desert Shield. We finally went into Kuwait and either chased out, killed, or captured the Iraqis that had invaded the country. If you recall, remember the all the terrible CNN coverage of the Iraqis seizing those hospitals and the little babies in incubators. Remember all that? Anyway, this was the day we went in there. There's my brother Brad right there. Brad, we were talking about you. Happy birthday, sir. 50 years old. Incredible to believe that um, my baby brother is half a century old this week. But I hope you get to take some time from work off, Brad, and enjoy your birthday. Okay, and then this week, it's not really a military history item, but closely related. It happened this week, I think it was the 22nd, February 22nd, 2024. Um, the first private company landed a vehicle on the moon. If you didn't see that, I mean, you won't see it on mainstream media, right? I didn't see it there. I saw it on nasa.gov or whatever. But a consortium of private enterprise and NASA landed Odysseus on the moon this week. First time we've been back there in quite some time. I don't know what we're doing there. I don't know what I think they're trying to. They're trying to. I think this is all part of a plan, something that will happen long after most of us are gone. As a springboard to Mars. I think this is something to do with that whole effort. Anyway. Okay. Well, that's it this week in military history. Veteran Cemetery Challenge. Moving on to our challenges here. Daryl, I know you had a nice visit out to Jefferson Barracks today. Boy, the weather's been kind of goofy, hasn't it? My daughter Charlotte up in Chicago, last weekend they were like 60s. During the week they had a snowstorm. Like Wednesday or Thursday, she messaged me and says, "Dad, it's snowing." And then today she texted me and there were 65 degrees. It's absolutely crazy. And I know very similar in St. Louis, just south of Chicago. St. Louis has had some similar Cold, hot, cold, but they were, Daryl, I think you said you were up in the 60s, maybe close to 70 today. Beautiful day to go out to Jefferson Barracks, I'm sure. But Daryl made a couple visits there this week. My dad, of course, made the normal visits, and my sis. So I think we had a total of 5 visits this week. So 1,091 times one of us has visited the resting place of a veteran, wherever that might be, across 181 or so locations. And I said this last week, didn't I? I was gonna share the map again. Some of you may not have seen the map. I started capturing all these visits on a map, and I need to update it and share it. So I said that last week, and I didn't do it. But anywho, all right. Well, how about the Think a Vet Challenge? I don't know if it should really be called the Think a Vet Challenge. You don't have to think of that when I like just to capture the encounters. I like encountering vets, and I did that with a number of them this week. Um, but they certainly are worthy to be thanked for sure. Veterans, military members, first responders, without a doubt. And we've been tracking that for a little while now. And Steve's going to add to the total here right now. And I'm going to see, I've got my Steve spot there. I'm going to say he had an Air Force vet, so we'll go Air Force. And then he had 4 police officers at the hockey game. I guess you get all kinds at the hockey game, don't you, Steve? Well, that's awesome. So that'll add 5 to the total, which will take us up to 9. And if I add 5 more here, that'll be 34. Okay. 4 active duty. Okay, that's Jimbo. Jimbo's got 4. So 4 will be 13 for the week. We add 4 there. That'll be 38. All right, got everybody in there. So 13 thank yous for the week. 2,538 times somebody has heard from someone in this group. Hey, appreciate you serving. Hey, thank you for serving. Hey, where'd you serve? Hey, oh, you were in the Marines? Okay, I'm sorry. You didn't score high enough to get in the Air Force? It's too bad. I had a couple like that, but they're always good sports. Daryl got some thank yous this week. That's awesome, Daryl. Good stuff. Well, the couple I had at work, let's see, I had 3 at work, 2 Army, 1 Marine. 1 Marine, super sharp guy. I'm hoping to hire him. And I spoke with him this past week, hire him and bring him into this program that I run. And then another guy that's trying to get in, an Army guy, talked to him. And then another Army guy I talked to. Okay, Katie's coming in hot here. Let's see. Oh, good for you, Katie. Thanking Matt for his continued service. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. Let's see. What was I going to say about that? This is the week. I don't count this, but every other week, I have a steering committee that I head up of veterans at our company. There's about 8 of us on the steering committee representing all the veterans at our company. And we always get together every 2 weeks. And we got a lot of cool things coming up. We're going to be doing like a roundtable discussion, webinar type thing, along with our women's group. We're going to focus on women veterans. We're going to talk about, we're going to celebrate women veterans in a roundtable discussion. So that'll be fun. And then we're going to do our normal Memorial Day placing flags at our headquarters. We're going to even do more of them this year, and that'll be great. Roy Cupper's in there. Hey, Chief, how's it going, buddy? And Matt says he thanked a Marine this week. Okay, Matt, I'm going to add yours to the total here. Appreciate you guys playing along with us. All right. Well, let's see what else we got here. That must be Jamie, Roy, and Jamie. Hey, Jamie, out in Las Vegas. Have you guys in there? Okay. Well, let's see. We are making it through pretty quick tonight, which is good. I'm kind of tired today. Fridays are my early day. I have a I have 13 students in the UK and some of my staff that's based there. And uh, I try to do it every Friday, but at least every other Friday, I join them for their weekly wrap up meeting. And it's at 5 o'clock a.m. Eastern. So they're always surprised. Why you get up so early, guys? I want to spend some time with you all and hear how your week went. And so Friday's my early day, so I get up and I spend the first hour with one group, one cohort, and then there's an hour in between. We do a book club study together, and then the next hour is the other cohort. They do their weekly wrap up, so I get to spend some time with them, and I think they appreciate it. This group in the group in the UK. Um, are younger. They're much younger. They're 18 and 19 years old. Probably the oldest of them is 20 now. So my team and I have had to adjust our curriculum and had to adjust the way we teach to accommodate that. There's a big difference in maturity level between them, an 18 and 19-year-old, and our other students who in the U.S. that are at least 22, some 22 up to 32. You know, and we found out the difference, the things that are different, and they've never worked anywhere, and this, that, and the other. So we've had to adjust the way we do things, and so far so good. Lori got to meet some of them while she was over there. But all right, well, there's Newsley in there from Michigan. Good to have you in there. We know her through Aaron up there in Michigan that heads up the Running to Honor, and Aaron hooked us up, and she's the one that brought down the sign of Zane that normally is placed at the race every year. And she brought that down to Georgia, left it with her daughter, Oksana. And then I met up with Oksana and her husband, who's a Marine, and they gave me the sign. And what a great gesture that was. And we have that sign right downstairs. And when you walk into our house, you see that sign of Zane. Very special. So thank you for making that happen, and great to have you in here joining us. I don't know if you've watched some of the recordings, but we've been doing this for quite a few years now. I guess we're what did I say, gang? 270 weeks worth. We started back in 2018, so well before the pandemic. And we just haven't run out of things to say, which is why I still here every Sunday night talking about Zane, and now talking about our son Tyler. Newsley, I don't know if you heard, we lost another son back in September. Zane's big brother Tyler. Just unfortunate set of circumstances, and we're just heartbroken about it. And I cannot describe the impact on the individual lives, the life of our family, of the siblings. It's just an enormous weight, enormous burden. One of my friends at work said she feels she lost. She's the gal I talked about last week who lost a daughter, Hallie. She says it feels like you've always got 1,000 pounds on your back, and it was a good way to describe it. But it is. There's no way. I mean, some of you have lost children, and I never want to minimize that. Our loss isn't any greater than your loss. We know that. But it's very hard for someone that's lost a child to convey exactly how devastating it is. And people don't know, what people will tell you. People say, Guy, I can't imagine. And I said, well, the thing I could tell you that could get you to the closest that you can imagine is if you have children, imagine it. And it's 10 times worse than what you imagine. But anyway, but we've been doing this since 2018. Started on a Sunday night. Zane passed on a Sunday night. We started this live stream on a Sunday night and have been doing it most Sunday nights for quite some time now. And I guess we'll keep doing it until I run out of something to talk about. But I just, they say a person dies twice. Once when they take their last breath, and then again when their name is no longer spoken. And at least while we're alive, we hope to make sure that never happens, that his name continues to be spoken. And I love the sound of his name. I love for people to ask me about him. I love to talk about him. When people ask you about him or when you talk about him, it might make you cry, but you know what? That's okay. People are afraid sometimes to make you sad about it. People are afraid they're going to upset you. You can't upset us any more than we already are. It's actually quite the opposite. And we didn't know this until it happened to us, but we love it when people ask us about Zane. We love to hear his name. I love to talk about him. It might make me sad sometimes, but I love to share about him. I love to talk about him. He was a unique individual. Same with Tyler. I love to talk about him. I'm not afraid to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think there's a lot that we can do, and we haven't talked a great deal about Tyler's, circumstance. But I'm not afraid to, and I will, when the time is right, talk about Tyler's circumstances, because he had his own story, and a story that I think if we tell it, people can benefit from and learn from. But I don't know why I got off on that, but we love hearing his name. I tell you, when my little grandson Everett comes over, he's Hannah's son. He's 7, and his middle name is Zane. And I love nothing more than to call him Everett Zane, just to hear Zane's name out loud. And I love it to hear the name Zane. And one of Zane's battle buddies up in Michigan, in fact, they named their little boy Zane. Was he born last year? Valencia. I think it was last year, but they got a little boy named Zane. But anyway, okay. Well, I mentioned my friend Angie at work. On my walk now, I'm listening to her podcast. So she does a podcast. You can go find it at Apple or on what is it, Lori? Hang on a second here. It's on Spotify. That's where I listen to it. Spotify when I'm walking. She's got about a year's worth of these. Every week she does an episode, and it's called Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. What I don't know is if she started the podcast before her daughter died, because Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess, they're a blended family. She brought 3 to the family. He brought 3 to the family. So blended, blessed, they're believers, and always a mess. And families are a mess, right? Kids are a mess. But it's not specifically dedicated to their daughter, Hallie, although most of the content has to deal with that. I just don't know. But I'm listening back now. So I'm going back on my afternoon walks and I'm listening, and just a lot of great advice that I'm like, yep. And, because she knows she's she's been where we've been, and to hear someone else that's been in that position say similar things, it's validating, and it's just good. I'm getting a lot out of listening to her. So anyway, okay, gang. Well, I think that's about it for this week. Coming up this week, normal week at work for me. Remember, I'm not retired like Steve and Jim and Daryl. I've got some more years to go, and Q. But I'm loving it. I wake up every day excited about the new day. I really do. I don't dread it whatsoever. So I'll keep doing it as long as they'll let me. But normal week this week. Then I mentioned we got some travel coming up down the road. Let's see. I'll be going to St. Louis sometime in April during the week, sometime first or second week of April, perhaps. Going to New Orleans in May for in a week during the week. And I mentioned last week that my daughter Charlotte and I are going to Tokyo in May. She's going over there for work, and we do this sort of annual daddy-daughter traveling that I've chronicled before. And she says, well, I'm going to be over there. Why don't you come and we'll make that our annual trip? So that's what we're thinking about doing. And then July, let's see, Lori and I are going back to England in July, toward the end of July into August for a couple of weeks. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of St. Louis trips in there too. I do a lot of St. Louis trips. I may even be in St. Louis a couple of days in March. But anyway, all right, gang. Well, great to have you all here. Thank you so much for joining. This is my therapy when I can have a captive audience, and I can talk about Zane and Tyler and everything that's going on here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. But I appreciate you guys more than you know, and thank you for listening. Thank you for always reaching out. Many of you will reach out to me at random times, and sure appreciate that. And we'll look forward to seeing you all again next Sunday night for, I guess, what will be the 271st edition of Speaking of Zane. Until then, God bless.